Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek Jain. In this video, I'm just going to explain how to install and set up a Keras where Tensorflow working as a backend. At the time of recording this video, we have two versions of TensorFlow, the TensorFlow 1 and the TensorFlow 2. So TensorFlow 2 has already integrated Keras as one of the sub-modules, so there is no need to install and set up a Keras explicitly for a TensorFlow 2.0. But there are a lot of users and the students which I have observed that they are still utilizing a TensorFlow 1.0 version. So how they can set up a Keras, which is nothing but a model level library which actually provides a simplest, the building block based on the concept we learn over the deep learning models. For example, how we want to create our neural network layers, what activation function we want to use, what optimizer we want to use, what loss function we want to use. So basically Keras I will put as a high level neural network API written in a Python which has a capability to configure a backend, right? So but in today's video we are just going to see how we can install a Keras to use a different backends, right? So let's get into the demo part. So the very first thing which we have to do is we have to just install a Keras, and since it's a Python library, so very straightforward, pip install Keras. You can clone the Git repository code as well if you want to build this from the scratch, from the source directly, right? So just to start, just to give you the little bit of history about Keras was started supporting Theano as a backend, but nowadays TensorFlow seems to be the most acceptable as a deep learning libraries. So most of the user, you will see that they are using get TensorFlow as a backend, right? So I have installed the Keras, right? So let me just go to the IDE, and now what we have to do is we have to just hit this Keras. It is using TensorFlow as a backend. Why? Because it's, which version do we have? Let me check. So if I just put print Keras version score, it's 2.3.1, right, which has a default default backend configured as a TensorFlow, and we can quickly check that. Sometimes what happens is whosoever is having an older version, let's say a TensorFlow 1, so what you will find that uh, uh, where the Keras actually gets create when you install a Keras, what happens is inside your user directory basically. So your name is, let's say, username Abhishek. So you will see this .keras folder here, right? Inside that you will be having this keras.json. Sometimes in the older version of Keras you will find that this file is not there. What you have to do is you have to just open this keras.json and you have to put these entries. So these are nothing but, so for example, if you will see this image data format, right? So image data format is just to tell, in which sequence, the data needs to be understood, right? So there is rows, columns, and channels, right? So when there is a 2D data, and there can be a 3D data as well for the image, right? So channel last, I'm just talking about the image data format. In the here you will first understand rows, columns, and then channels. But if it is a channel first, then you will be using channels, rows, and columns for 2D data. But if it is a 3D data, then it is going to be the convention dimension 1, dimension 2, dimension 3, and the channels. Now, what is backend? So backend is something which we are more interested in today's video. It's already default. It is already set in the TensorFlow, and that's the reason when we install and import the Keras, we found this TensorFlow is being utilized. So what if I just change this TensorFlow to, let's say, Theano, which is another library, right? So let's see. Oh, so I have to close this, and I have to open the IDE again, so that the changes which I made into the configuration file that can get into the effect if I just use this Keras now. It's using as a Theanos, right? And it will Now it is utilizing basically Theanos, right? So let's say, I mean, if you haven't installed Theano yet, so you will get some problem that Theano is not installed. But since the Theano is already there, I can quickly show you that. Let me just pick and install Theano. So coming back here, let me just close this again, and let me just do the thing. Okay, so if I import Keras now, see, we are getting this error, right? So similarly, the support Keras has as a backend, like, I mean, CNTK, then I think Mxnet also. You can just go to the document and see there is very good documentation for Keras. Now in TensorFlow 2.0, right? So if I just see which version of TensorFlow I have installed on my machine, import TensorFlow as TF. Okay, so as I mentioned that in TensorFlow 2.0 that Keras has already integrated. So basically in TensorFlow we have a submodule named Keras, right? So you don't have to install Keras if you are going to utilize the TensorFlow 2.0 as a deep learning library. You can just see, I mean, tf dot, if you just put Keras, right, it's there. And then what we can, sequential model, right, and we can just save this to a model. Yep, you're good to go. So if you want to add the layer, you can use this add, right, and then you can just add the layer, like, I mean, dance and whatever you want to do it, and you're good to go basically, right? So Keras is already there within a TensorFlow 2.0, so you don't have to do anything extra when you want to use the TensorFlow 2.0. But if you want to use a TensorFlow 1.0, you have to just follow the step which I just explained you earlier. Install a Keras, go to that keras.json file, put the backend if you want to use, which backend you want to use, and you are good to go, right? For other parameters which I was so float x, it just to define, I mean, so there are float precision. So what kind of precision you want to use, float 32, 16, and the float 64, right? So similarly, epsilon is just to use to avoid or dividing by zero type of stuff. So you can just read through the documentation and understand all these stuff, right? Now the I think that's it from my side. Okay, if you try to set up by following this video, and if you face an issue, please feel free to put that in the comment section, and I will do my best to help you out to just set this up, because this is not something which is very interesting if you face some issue in setting up these Keras, because these Keras just meant for helping us, not to just get into the problem where we are just struggling to set this up, right? So I would suggest the moment you face the issue, put all the information like which version of Python you are using, what is the the OS you are using, whether it's a Windows or Ubuntu or Linux, whatever the Mac OS, whatever the the operating system you have, because you have to be very clear, where you have to be very careful when you are installing a TensorFlow. You have to see what exactly the recommended configuration you should be using on your machine, right, and what should be the Python version you should be using, right? So keep all these things in mind. And if you just face the issue, put all those as much as information you can along with the error message you are getting, so that I can help you, I mean, to set this up easily, right? So thanks for watching this. As always, if you have any feedback, suggestion, please feel free to put that in the comment section. And if you feel that these kind of video can help your colleagues or your team members, please feel free to share these video with them. And if you haven't subscribed so far, please feel free to subscribe also, that would be great for me. And thanks for watching this, and as always, stay healthy and keep learning a new stuff.